In the world of enterprise software, some rivalries are just legendary. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest corporate battles in the history of tech. This isn't just a story about a hostile takeover. Nope. It's a full-blown saga of ambition and incredible defense, and a legacy that, honestly, just refused to die. So let's set the scene. It's June 2003. A single move is about to be made that will send absolute shockwaves through the entire tech industry. This is where it all kicks off, a story of resistance, persistence, and just raw corporate power.
So how did a war like this even begin? Well, it didn't start with a friendly chat or a negotiation. It started with a perfectly timed, completely out-of-the-blue attack.
And you gotta understand, the timing here was just brutal. PeopleSoft was riding high. They just spot out one of their big rivals, J.D. Edwards, making themselves even stronger in the market. They were probably still popping champagne corks, and then just days later, bam, Oracle strikes. And let's be clear, this was no merger proposal. This was a hostile bid. And this was the opening shot, $5.1 billion. This offer was completely unsolicited, totally unwelcome, and just incredibly aggressive. It was designed to take PeopleSoft over whether they liked it or not.
But if you think PeopleSoft was just going to roll over, you'd be dead wrong. What happened next was a masterclass in corporate defense. This company was digging in and fighting for its very survival.
So you immediately get these two completely different stories being told to the public. Oracle's playing it cool, saying, hey, this is just a strategic move, we're expanding our customer base. But PeopleSoft, they called it what they saw it as, a predatory attack to literally wipe a major rival off the map. Two narratives, one absolutely brutal corporate war.
So how'd they fight back? Oh, they went on the offensive, big time. First, they took Oracle to court, arguing that this whole deal would create an illegal monopoly. That move alone triggered a massive antitrust investigation from the Department of Justice. But then they did something really clever. They launched this customer assurance program. It was basically a poison pill. They promised their own customers huge refunds if Oracle bought them and then stopped supporting the software. A brilliant move that made the acquisition suddenly way more expensive and way more risky for Oracle.
And really, this was the one question keeping every single one of their customers up at night. You have to remember, thousands of companies were running their entire operations on PeopleSoft software. We're talking about the massive, critical databases that handled everything: finance, HR, accounts payable, the works. The fear was real. If Oracle wins, do the products we depend on just disappear?
PeopleSoft had put up one heck of a fight. They had the law on their side, they had their customers' loyalty, they had this amazing company culture. But the real question, the scary question was, could any of that really stand up to the sheer financial firepower of a titan like Oracle? You see, PeopleSoft's incredible defense ran headfirst into Oracle's one simple strategy: relentless, overwhelming, unstoppable pressure.
Remember where we started? $5.1 billion. An offer that PeopleSoft's board basically just laughed out of the room. They called it inadequate, opportunistic, a non-starter.
But this fight dragged on and on. For the next year and a half, through all the lawsuits, the PR campaigns, the tense negotiations, Oracle just kept coming. They would not take no for an answer. Every time they were rejected, they just came back with a sweeter deal, trying to wear down the resistance.
And then came this number, $10.3 billion. More than double the original offer. At this point, it was a staggering amount of money, and it just became impossible for PeopleSoft's board to keep saying no. The financial pressure was just too much to bear.
And just like that, the deal was done. But the consequences of this one takeover would fundamentally reshape the entire enterprise software market for years and years to come.
After the Department of Justice finally gave the deal the green light, saying it wasn't an antitrust violation, the path was clear. By January 2005, the 18-month war for independence was officially over. PeopleSoft, a true pioneer in the world of business databases, was no longer an independent company. And look at the effect this had on the market. It was immediate, and it was dramatic. Where you used to have several big players, the landscape just consolidated overnight. This acquisition basically turned the whole thing into a two-horse race, leaving Oracle and its big European rival, SAP, to completely dominate the global market. So the immediate impact was just huge. For Oracle, they instantly absorbed PeopleSoft's massive customer base, a huge win. And for all those anxious customers, well, they could breathe a little easier.
Oracle announced it would continue supporting the key PeopleSoft products, including all those critical financial and performance management modules. The war was over, but thankfully, the software lived on.
But the story doesn't really end there. Not by a long shot. Because even after a company is gone, its legacy, its real impact, can keep going in some really surprising ways.
Okay, this is my favorite part of the whole story. After the takeover, PeopleSoft's charismatic founder, Dave Duffield, he was out. But he wasn't done. He took his team, his vision, and he founded a brand new company, Workday. And in this perfect, almost poetic twist of fate, Workday would grow up to become one of Oracle's biggest and fiercest competitors in the cloud era. The rivalry was reborn from the ashes.
And that really gets to the heart of what a legacy is, right? In the end, PeopleSoft's legacy turned out to be so much more than just a company that got bought out. It lives on in the technology that millions of people still use today under the Oracle brand, and it was reborn in that competitive fire that its founder carried right into his next incredible venture.
Which really makes you think, doesn't it? As a company, PeopleSoft didn't survive. But its products did, its people did, and its competitive spirit absolutely did. And it continued to shape the entire industry. It really begs the question, when we look back at these titanic clashes in tech history, what really, truly defines a victory?